I'm 83 years old, and I need to tell you something. Something I wish I had told myself decades ago. Everything you think you know about success is completely wrong. You see, I've built companies, earned awards, traveled the world, and accumulated more money than I could ever spend. People call me a legend in my field. They say I've made it. But here's the truth nobody talks about. While I was chasing all of that, I was losing the people who mattered most. My family, my children, my wife, the very people who should have been my greatest pride, my closest friends, my heart. And by the time I realized what I'd done, it was too late. I'm running out of time now. Every morning, I wake up in a house that echoes with silence. I have all the things I worked for. Yet when I look around, there's no one to share it with. No laughter at the table, no shared victories. Just a quiet emptiness that no amount of success can fill. You might think, well, you earned it. They'll forgive you. That's what I told myself for decades. Once we're financially secure, everything will be okay. But life doesn't wait for you to catch up. It doesn't pause while you build your empire, and neither do the people who love you. I've lost birthdays, first steps, school plays, late night talks, and quiet Sundays. Every missed moment stacked on top of the last, creating a distance that can't be bridged by money, trophies, or accolades. Let me be clear, my success feels hollow, and the pain of that emptiness is sharper than any failure I ever experienced at work. But before I tell you what happened, before I show you how I went from a man who had it all to one who has no one to share it with, you need to understand the lie I believed for most of my life. Because the real tragedy isn't losing money. It isn't missing opportunities. It's realizing, at 83, that success means nothing without the people you love. In 1969, I was 33 years old. My wife, Margaret, had just given birth to our first child, Emily. I remember holding her tiny hand in the hospital room and thinking, this is it. This is what matters. But the very next morning, I was on a plane to New York, chasing a deal I believed would secure our future. I told myself it was temporary. Once we're stable, once I close this deal, I'll be home. I'll make it up to them. Margaret smiled, patient as ever, brushing Emily's fine hair back from her forehead. I know you're doing this for us, she said softly, but promise me you'll come back when you can. I nodded, though I had no real idea what that would mean in the long run. In 1972, our son Daniel was born. I remember the hospital call. Margaret's voice trembled with excitement. I was in a boardroom across the country negotiating contracts. I told her, I'll be there next week. But that week stretched into months. Daniel's first steps came and went. Emily learned to ride her bike, scraped knees and all, and I wasn't there to see it. I convinced myself it didn't matter. I left notes in lunch boxes when I could. I called when flights allowed. I sent gifts and cards, thinking these gestures were enough to bridge the gap. Margaret always thanked me with a quiet smile, saying, "We'll understand when you're done building this dream." I believed her. By 1975, I had climbed higher than I ever imagined. Our company was growing. My name was known in circles I had only read about as a boy. Yet, at home, Emily's drawings piled up on the fridge, each one a tiny plea for attention I barely gave. Daniel learned to read, his first words etched into letters I never answered quickly enough. Looking back, the first warning signs were subtle. Emily asked why I was always too busy for bedtime stories. Daniel stopped asking me to help with his homework. Margaret grew quieter, her eyes reflecting a patience that I mistook for approval. I thought I was doing the right thing, securing a future where they'd never want for anything. That's the lie I told myself for more than a decade, that money, success, and prestige could replace presence, that if I worked hard enough, my absence would be forgiven. I believed it because I wanted to, and that belief set the pattern for the next 40 years. 1983. I was 47 years old. Emily was 15, Daniel 12. I thought I had reached the point where I could finally catch up with my family. But life has a way of tricking you. There was always one more deal, one more meeting, one more project. Emily had her first school dance. I promised I would take her. I even cleared my calendar, or so I thought. At the last minute, a client called, urgent, impossible to refuse. I canceled. She waited in the living room in her new dress, hair done perfectly, and I wasn't there. I didn't even see the disappointment in her eyes. I told myself, she'll forgive me. I always make it up later. 1987. Daniel was 16, about to get his driver's license. I told him I'd take him to the DMV. I had worked late again, negotiating a merger that everyone assured me was critical. When I finally came home, he was asleep. I found the papers on his desk. He didn't say a word. That night, I remember Margaret shaking her head slightly, trying not to show her frustration. I brushed it off, blaming the work, the timing, the world. 1992, Emily graduated high school. The ceremony was at 7 in the evening. I was on a flight across the country, preparing for a major conference. I called her before the ceremony. She answered quietly, a flatness in her tone I hadn't heard before. "It's okay, Dad," she said. I knew it wasn't. I landed too late to attend the after-party, missed the photos, the laughter, the hugs. I kept telling myself, next year, I'll be there. By 1995, patterns had hardened. Daniel had started college. I missed his first dorm move-in, his first football game, countless parent-teacher calls. I convinced myself I was building a legacy for them, a life of opportunity. But in reality, I was building a wall between myself and the people I loved most. 1998, Emily got engaged. I flew in late to the rehearsal dinner. She smiled politely, but the warmth was gone. I noticed it immediately. She had become reserved, cautious around me. I thought time could heal this. I was wrong. 2001, Daniel had a son, my first grandchild. I had been promoted, recognized, applauded. I could buy anything. Yet when I walked into that hospital room, the nurses congratulated me, but my daughter-in-law gave me a polite nod. Daniel's eyes held a flicker of resentment I hadn't anticipated. I realized I had missed the first breaths, the first cries, the first moments that mattered most. Year after year, the same pattern repeated. I missed birthdays, soccer games, piano recitals, parent-teacher meetings, vacations, family dinners. I told myself, just a few more years, then I'll be present. My excuses became a script, deadlines, opportunities, responsibilities. Meanwhile, I watched the patience of my loved ones erode. Margaret stopped asking when I'd be home. Emily stopped inviting me to events. Daniel stopped seeking my advice. They learned not to expect me. My absence became the default. I was blind to it at the time. I remember finding a drawing Emily had made when she was 8. A small stick figure family with me standing apart, shaded in gray. At the time, I chuckled, thinking she was being dramatic. Now, I keep it in a drawer, a reminder, a warning. Looking back, the decades were not filled with achievements alone. They were a series of missed opportunities, broken promises, and quiet heartbreak. Each success came with a cost, and I didn't realize it until it was too late to reclaim any of it. By the time I reached 70, the distance had become permanent. The invitations stopped, the calls grew less frequent, the house was quiet. My family had learned to live without me, and I had learned too late that no amount of money or recognition could replace the moments I had lost forever. It was March of 2012. I was 76 years old. Emily had called me hesitantly to say she was getting married again. Her second marriage. She wanted me to attend the ceremony. My heart leapt. This is it, I thought. I can finally be there. I can make up for decades of absence. I booked the earliest flight I could. I rehearsed what I would say, the smiles I would give, the hugs I would hold. I arrived at the small chapel in a quiet suburb, carrying a bouquet I had picked out myself, imagining the look of surprise and happiness on her face. But when I walked in, the scene that met me was chilling. The room was full of friends and family, yet everyone seemed complete without me. Emily stood at the altar. She turned, saw me, and for a brief moment, a flicker of recognition crossed her face. Then it vanished. She smiled politely, a smile meant for a guest, not for her father. I approached her slowly, trying to bridge the years of absence. "Emily," I said, voice trembling, "I'm here. I came. I want to be part of this moment." She looked at me, her eyes dry, her tone controlled. "I know, Dad. Thank you for coming." That was it. No warmth, no excitement, no relief. Just a sense of obligation, as though I were a visitor in a world she had built perfectly without me. I wanted to reach out, to pull her into an embrace, to tell her I was sorry, to explain why I had missed so much. But I stopped. I couldn't. My words would not undo the years. After the ceremony at the reception, I tried again. I told her I was proud, that I loved her, that I had always wanted to be there. She nodded, said, "I know," and then she walked away, laughing with her new family, leaving me standing alone by the punch bowl. I remember looking around the room at the children I had never babysat, at the photographs I had never taken, at the joy I had never shared. And it hit me in a way I had never fully felt before. I was not part of her life anymore. I never would be. My absence had carved a permanent space, one that could not be filled no matter what I achieved. That should have been my wake-up call. But I was too late, too blind for decades, too late to repair the bridges I had burned, the moments I had missed, the love I had neglected. I left the reception early, walking back to my empty hotel room in a city that felt alien. The accolades, the trophies, the wealth, they meant nothing. All the power I had accumulated couldn't reach across the distance I had created. That night, I sat alone, listening to the quiet hum of the air conditioner. I thought about Margaret, who had passed 3 years earlier, and Daniel, who barely spoke to me on the phone now. I realized with a sharp clarity that cut deeper than any failure at work ever had. Success without presence is emptiness. Achievements without love are hollow, and some moments once gone can never be reclaimed. After Emily's wedding, the reality of my life hit me like a weight I could no longer ignore. I had spent decades building a career, creating wealth, and climbing ladders I thought mattered. And now, at 76, with all that I had earned, I realized something devastating. It meant nothing. I have everything money can buy. luxury cars, sprawling homes, a portfolio most people would envy. Awards line the walls, recognitions from peers who admire my work. Yet when I walk into these spaces, they feel empty. No one calls me just to talk. No one waits for my visit. The rooms echo, but the laughter that should fill them is gone. I tried to reach out. I sent letters apologizing for missed birthdays, missed graduations, missed years I cannot bring back. I called Daniel asking to visit, hoping to see my grandson, to hear his voice light up when he said, "Grandpa." But the calls were polite and brief. He thanked me for reaching out, but never invited me over. It was as if my presence had become optional, and in their hearts, unnecessary. Margaret is gone, and with her, the quiet strength that held our family together. I visit her grave sometimes and talk to her as if she can hear me. I tell her about Emily, Daniel, the missed moments, and how I can't fix any of it. She would have understood. She always understood. Now, I live in a house filled with the fruits of my labor and none of its warmth. We're civil now, pleasant, but we're not close. Emily sends polite texts during holidays. Daniel answers the phone, careful to keep the conversation short. Grandchildren wave politely, but they barely know me. I have become a stranger in my own family. The irony is unbearable. Every deal I made, every hour I spent in the office, every just one more project I chased, I thought I was building a life worth sharing. I thought love and presence could wait. I was wrong. The most important achievements are the ones you can't put on a resume. The bedtime stories, the scraped knees kissed, the Sunday breakfasts, the shared secrets, the small victories celebrated together. I miss them all. Now, when I sit in my study, looking at the awards, the bank statements, the contracts, I feel the emptiness in my chest. It's sharp, constant, a reminder that no matter how much success I earned, I have no one to share it with, and that is the cost I will carry until the end. Here's what took me 83 years to learn. Success without presence is meaningless. Everyone tells you that if you work hard, if you climb the ladder, if you earn the awards, life will be perfect. That your career, your money, your reputation, these are the things that will define you. That lie kept me running for decades. But here's the truth. Your company doesn't love you. Your awards don't care if you're there for your child's first recital. Your bank account won't notice when your spouse needs a hand to hold. They cannot. Only people can. Only the ones who truly love you will remember the small things, the moments you are present, the time you give. I spent years thinking I could make it up later. Once I'm rich enough, once I'm famous enough, once the deal closes, I'll be there. That's a trap. Time does not wait. Kids grow up, partners age, moments vanish, and some of them never come back. The cruel irony is this. The harder I worked to secure the future, the more I lost in the present. Every deal, every promotion, every achievement was meaningless without the people I loved by my side. And yet, I couldn't see it until it was too late. So listen carefully. Presence matters more than presence. Attention matters more than accolades. Time matters more than titles. You cannot buy back the moments you miss. You cannot earn your way into a child's memories once they've learned to live without you. Here's the simple truth I wish I had understood at 30, 40, 50 years old. Your achievements are hollow without those who love you to share them. People remember love, not legacies. Presence, not promotions. Small gestures, not grand successes. And the harshest lesson of all, By the time you realize this, the opportunity to repair it may be gone permanently. So, if you take anything from my story, let it be this. Don't wait. Don't lie to yourself that you'll have time later. Time doesn't wait, and neither will the people you love. If I could tell my 40-year-old self one thing, it would be this. Stop lying to yourself. Stop thinking there will always be later. Stop believing that success alone can replace presence. Stop missing birthdays because of meetings. Stop skipping recitals, first days of school, and family dinners for deadlines. Stop assuming money can make up for your absence. Stop thinking, once I achieve X, everything will be okay. It won't, not like you imagine. Start showing up even when it's inconvenient. Start listening to your children, not just hearing them. Start helping with homework, celebrating small victories, sharing quiet nights at home. Start telling your spouse you love them, not just in words, but in presence. Start creating memories they will never forget. Start valuing moments over milestones. The first steps, the scraped knees, the shared laughter over nothing. These are the things that matter. The promotions, the deals, the trophies, they are fleeting. The love you give, the time you invest, the bonds you nurture, those last. Those define you. If I could go back, I would tell myself to take one less flight, attend one more game, read one more bedtime story, and be present for the mundane, ordinary days. Those days are the treasure chest of life. That's where love grows. That's where memories live. That's what success without sacrifice should look like. The lesson is simple, though I didn't learn it until much too late. Stop chasing hollow victories. Start living in the moments that matter. Stop measuring life by wealth or titles. Start measuring it by presence, by care, by shared laughter and tears. If I could give my younger self one final instruction, it would be this. Stop, start, stop, start. Because the moments won't wait, and neither will the people who love you.
I see you out there, checking emails at dinner, promising later when your child asks for your attention, skipping family meals for one more meeting, thinking there will always be time to make up for lost moments. Stop lying to them, and worse, stop lying to yourself. You tell yourself, I'm doing this for them. You tell yourself, once I succeed, I'll have more time. That's a trap. The clock is ticking, whether you acknowledge it or not. Every soccer game missed, every bedtime skipped, every phone call ignored, it's gone forever. You can't rewind it. You can't earn it back. Things will never slow down. There will always be another project, another opportunity, another excuse. And with every excuse, the distance grows. You think they'll understand. They might at first. Then they'll stop asking. They'll stop waiting. They'll stop hoping. And one day you'll look around and realize that presence cannot be replaced by presence. Attention cannot be bought, and time cannot be reclaimed. I am living proof. At 83, I have wealth, awards, and accomplishments, but I have no one to share them with. I tried to fix it too late. The apologies, the calls, the visits, they fell flat. My children, my grandchildren, they've moved on, and nothing I do now will bring back the first words I missed, the scraped knees I never kissed, the laughter I never shared. You still have time, but only if you act now, not tomorrow, not next week, now. Close your laptop, put your phone down, go home, show up, listen, laugh, hold their hands, Be present in the moments that will never come again. Because if you wait, the opportunity will vanish, and when you finally look up, it will be too late. The house will be quiet, the dinners will be empty, the calls will stop, and you'll have all the success in the world without the people who made it worth having. This is your warning. Don't ignore it. Don't make the same mistake I did. Time is the one thing you cannot earn back, no matter how successful you become.
I'm 83 years old now. I have wealth, recognition, and accomplishments that people admire. But inside, I am empty. I would give it all for one more birthday with Emily, one more soccer game with Daniel, one more quiet night at home with Margaret, one more chance to hear my grandchildren laugh at something silly I said. But I can't have that. Time doesn't go backwards. The moments are gone, and so are the people I wanted to share them with. I sit in my study sometimes, looking at the trophies and the contracts, and I think about all the years I thought I was building a life worth living. I was wrong. The life worth living isn't built in boardrooms or on spreadsheets. It's built in the small moments you can't put on a resume. The scraped knees kissed, the bedtime stories read, the shared meals and quiet conversations. I am grateful for what I achieved. I am proud in some ways, but the pride tastes bitter because it came at the cost of presence. I lost the most important things I will ever have, and no accolade can replace them. Here's the final truth, simple and painful. Success is empty without love. Presence matters more than presents. Attention matters more than achievements. And once you realize that too late, the cost is permanent. I have learned it, and now I carry it every day.
I see you scrolling, checking emails, promising later while life passes by. Stop. Close your laptop. Put your phone down. Go home. Be present. If this makes you uncomfortable, good. It should, because it's uncomfortable to face the truth. Every missed moment is gone forever. Every dinner skipped, every bedtime story ignored, every laugh you didn't share, they will not return. Call your children, sit with your spouse, hold your parents' hands, listen, laugh, play, be part of the life happening right now, not the one you think you'll make up later. Don't wait for the perfect time. There isn't one. Don't tell yourself, I'll fix it tomorrow. Tomorrow might be too late. And then, when you can, share this. Talk about it. Comment below. Reach out. Let someone else hear the warning I learned too late. Here's the question you need to ask yourself today. When you're 83, will you have someone to share your life with, or just your empty successes? The choice is yours. Start now.